Welcome back to another exciting episode and a somewhat educational one of the Myth-Busting Locksmith. Now, for all you established carpenters and locksmiths out there, those who have done their training and those who have passed their exams, this video is not for you. This is for the new guys who are learning to be locksmiths, who are working as new locksmiths, and who are being told by their professional association, whoever is training them, that everything must be to manufacturer's standard, everything must be perfect, everything must be exact, because that is the way they train you and that is the way they will examine you. Now, what I have been asked recently, I have 3 to do and I've got 2 other customers waiting, so 5 in total, is I have had to create a solution that when you have a standard rim cylinder and it has been fitted into your door like thus, what the people have asked for is if they have their rim cylinder, or what you would recognise as a airlock taken out of the door, it leaves a hole like this. This is a 31 millimeter diameter hole. Now, what I learnt recently, and it took me an hour and a half round trip to do so, was something I wanted to share. The idea was I would take this block of wood. Okay, I've used a pen, but for illustration purposes it doesn't matter. And I drew 2 holes, and the idea was to cut this down the centre so that I would have 2 pieces like this. The idea then was to somehow, and I took sandpaper with me, I took chisels, I took sharpening block, I took a mallet as instructed by the person who was going to help me in this workshop, and the idea was to cut these down and shave these round so that the diameter was a perfect 31mm hole. This is a perfect 31mm hole, and this rim cylinder fits in perfectly. So if I was fitting a lock, that squeezes in perfectly, and there it is. It's absolutely flush, and if we put it this way as well, you can see it is absolutely perfect in its fitting, although the lock is not quite straight. But as you can see, it is perfectly fitted. A little bit of a squeeze to get it out. And this is where the problem lies, because doing my training with a well-established association training locksmiths to hone their skills, I was told everything has to be perfect, it has to be manufacturer's standard, it has to be exact if you want to pass your 4 exams. So, much struggle, I made a perfect hole to fit a rim cylinder in, so that when my 5 customers said we would like you to remove the rim cylinder from our doors, leaving this hole, we would then like you to create a solution that could then go into the hole, be flush this side here, so it would be flush down here, and then we cut down here, and it would leave a solid round hockey puck of wood inside. So a little bit of glue in here, in goes the hockey puck. If this is the spine of your door when the door is opened, 2 little screws or even 1 little screw in there, and it would be perfectly fitted. The front would be nice and smooth, and you could varnish it or paint it, and the lock would no longer be needed. There would be no hole, it would be nice and solid. Now, the first question that was raised, and I want to bring this up before I forget, is I had been advised that, I could get 2 little wooden plugs, put one in this side and put one in this side. But if it is a wooden fire door, then it needs to be solid wood, because if this is solid all the way through, this needs to be a solid plug. So that's the first thing I learned. The second thing I learned, of course, and the problem is in the wording, I made a perfect 31mm hole. The lock went in and it fitted in the hole. Let's have a little fiddle. It fitted in the hole. We get it nice and straight. Absolutely perfectly. Flush and neat at the front. Absolutely perfect at the back. So of course, having made this perfect, I thought what we need to do is make the 31mm dowling perfect. Until they pointed out, I brought me chisels, I brought me sandpaper, I brought me wood, I brought me mallet, I brought me rim cylinder, I brought me big piece of wood that would get cut into 2 small pieces of wood that would then be shaved to fit the hole. I would do my exam and another day, and I would show them what they'd done, and they would be very happy. Until the 40-year carpenter pointed out that I am being trained as a locksmith in carpentry. I am being trained by a professional body, and I'm trying to hone my skills to perfection, to manufacturing standards, to a standard that will pass the exam. I am a locksmith. I am not a 40-year carpenter, and what he pointed out, and this is what I wanted to share today for all you locksmiths who are about to fall down the same trap as I did, 99.9% of the people out there who are making holes in wood like this to fit a lock like this, to then later request you remove the lock like this to leave a hole to then fill out with wood, 99% of the people are not going to make a 31mm absolute precision engineering, beautifully fitted, absolutely circular, smooth as glass all the way around hole. They are going to fit it in so there's a little bit of leeway. They might make 32mm, they might make 33, they might even make 34mm. But the point is, he pointed out that although this is absolutely perfect, 99% of the people are not going to make this perfect. They are not going to make it look like this in the back. There is going to be some wiggle room where this is rigid and it's perfect, and if I was fitting a lock, this would be an exam passing standard. What he pointed out was nobody else would care about that level. They would have a couple of millimetres either side, because once you put the plate on the back and you put the rose on the front, you put the rim cylinder through. So the rose is here, the rim cylinder goes through, you have this on the back, you screw it through the plate, you fit it in the door, you put your night latch on. It doesn't matter if the hole is 2 or 3 or 4mm out, because everything being screwed tight together is going to hold it in place, and it is going to hold it perfect. So if you have a perfect 31mm piece of dowling that just goes through with a little bit of a squeeze and a push and a twist, the chances are it is going to be too small for the hole that you come across when you remove a cylinder from a door. Because if this is 31mm to fit this, which fits this, then the chances are it's going to be too small, because, as previously illustrated, 99% of the doors are not going to have a 31mm hole. They're going to have 32mm, 33mm, 34mm. So, for the new locksmiths out there, don't go to the effort of making a perfect hole that will fit this perfectly unless you are learning how to create the perfect hole to put your lock in for fitting. If you are trying to create little discs or templates of wood that you can squish into the hole whilst removing the lock, make it 32 or 33mm. Better 33, and then all you have to do is work out how much of the edge is too much and shave off this little bit, as you can see marked with varnish here, maybe this much, and then all you have to do is sand it round once you've got the whole thing round, and take a little edge off, because if you make this 31 it's too small. If you make it 32 or 33, it's going to be slightly too big, and you are going to literally need about that much of wood to sand off round the edge to make it fit in your hole. Every door width is going to be different, which is why I thought about doing this and making them long, so I could put it in, go, that's how much I need. Another door might be thicker, and go, right, the door is this thick now, this is how much I need. But, of course, as I've said, everybody is not going to be a perfectionist. Everyone is not going to be looked to gain exam level standards. So your 31mm hole that this lock would fit into is going to be a rare occurrence. You are not going to find the perfect hole. It is not going to be the exact millimetres of the lock. It is going to be slightly bigger. This will be slightly loose once you remove the rose and the plate and the night latch. So, having gone to the workshop and realising I failed the first hurdle, I've now ordered dowling at 32mm, and I've ordered some 35mm as well. But I just wanted to catch all you locksmiths early and say, don't hurt yourself. Try to make the perfect hole and a rim cylinder for hockey puck template, because the chances are, if you are fitting a lock, this is perfect, because it goes in absolutely perfect and there is no wiggle room whatsoever. But if you are looking to remove the lock from the door, to create a hole, to get your dowling to place in the door, make it 32 to 35mm and shave off the edge, because you are not going to get a hole like that unless it has been fitted by a professional locksmith. And if it's been fitted by a professional locksmith, the chances are that people are going to call the same guy to come back to remove the lock to put the wood in its place. So I didn't need my sandpaper, I didn't need my chisels, I didn't need my mallet, I didn't need my wood. I failed the first hurdle. I've had to go out and buy dowling at 32 and 35mm, and that would be my advice to you, because that way if it's too big you can shave a little bit off, and it doesn't matter if the hole is imperfect, because you are never going to get a hole that is that perfect in a door unless it's been fitted by a professional, and that will be rare. And this was advice I gained from a 40-year carpenter who said, it's never going to be exact, it's never going to be perfect. People don't care if there's a slight bit of wiggle room, you're always going to get some. They're not looking to pass exams, I was, and this is what I found is my downfall. I might be perfect, mine might be exact, the rest of the world is not going to be exact, it's not going to be perfect, it doesn't matter. So don't waste your time and efforts making little hockey pucks that are perfect, because ultimately they will be the wrong size for your locks. So that's it. I really hope for the new locksmiths out there that you have found this useful, and I hope to the old locksmiths and the carpenters out there, you're going, yes, we knew this all along, and we agree with you 100%, because this is what I found. And of course, now I look at it when I was doing another course where I had to cut a key to fit a lock, just like this. I was given a blank key and a lock like this and said, make that key fit this lock. When I look at the key now, it doesn't look perfect. It looks a little rough around the edges, but it fitted the lock perfectly and it opened it every single time. I did a rim cylinder and I did a mortise, and it's the same thing. Doesn't look pretty, doesn't look perfect, but it does the job perfectly, and there's absolutely no problems at all. So just don't fall into the trap, because sometimes imperfection is perfect, perfection is imperfect, the two will not match, and you'll be wasting your time, as I did, spending hours trying to get this perfect, driving an hour and a half to get to a workshop to have these made, only to realise my mistake. Thank you for watching. Do leave comments and thoughts below, and I'm really trying to catch up with new locksmiths here to catch you early to say, you know, as long as it fits, as long as it works, as long as it's neat, and as long as the customer is happy, it doesn't have to look like it was made on a machine. So that's it. Thanks for watching. Good night.